This week on the podcast, let's talk about Choo-Choo-Charles and if it is worth the hype. Also, what was announced at the Game Awards, and stick around until the end of the video to hear some deals that you can snag this week. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Roll the intro. Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Danny K. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green Elite. Green, how are you doing today?
Is it always, though? Is it always?
It's true. It's not always anymore. I can't really
Yeah.
say it anymore.
Yeah,
But
I try.
I can't say I'm always on the show anymore either.
Yeah, that's fair. I caught the Rona.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. The last 2 days, I did not feel fine. I was very stuffy, but I can breathe through my nose today, which is great. So, yeah, I'm here. I'm vibing. I'm thriving.
Yeah. You don't sound too bad. In fact, it might be an improvement.
Oh, ouch. Anyway. No, I actually had a phone interview yesterday, and I was a lot more stuffed up, and I had to apologize. I'm like, oh my god, I don't normally sound like this, but this is what you get. So
My dedication is that, even though I have the Rona, I am still here for this phone interview. We're also joined by the Spooky and the Ukuli, the Mendacii. Mendacii, how are you doing today?
Not too shabby, man. I put my 2 weeks in at my terrible, oppressive job. It's finals. I am on forced overtime, and I leave the state on Tuesday. So, just barely holding it together.
Yeah, that is definitely a lot to handle. Real quick note, I did just notice that I kind of goobered up, so if you guys are hearing double, that is on me. My apologies. It should be fixed now. But hello and welcome to the show. Like I said, thanks for watching and listening to the show. Be sure to stick around until the end to hear about some awesome deals that we found for you guys this week. Of course, if you miss any part of the show, if you're joining us live, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. Of course, if you are catching us on those platforms, you can find us live, usually Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, but we are joining you Wednesday this week due to some scheduling conflicts. So, sometimes we're fluid. If we make changes to our schedule, we'll tell you on Twitter. That's the best way to, get to know us. Greenlee, hit him with the Twitter.
At Next Nothing PC.
Yeah, so follow us there. We like to keep you guys up to date with all of our stuff, including VRCona, which, real quick at the top of the show, we are doing VRCona this Friday. And I do have a special bonus episode coming out very shortly. But I think that's enough housekeeping. You want to talk about some Choo-Choo motherfucking Charles?
You took my line. It's Choo-Choo motherfucker Charles, okay? Yes, we will talk about Choo-Choo-Charles. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready for this extravaganza of Choo-Choo-Charles?
Tell us, baby boy.
So Choo-Choo-Charles has been making some waves. It was previewed on TikTok almost a year ago. Someone was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna make this this video and see where it goes." So they put it on TikTok, and it's actually the dev behind what's it? My Beautiful Paper Smile. Two Star Games is the dev. It's just one person. They put that clip together, they put it on TikTok, and it blew up. It went viral. So they actually worked on this game over the past year, and what it is it's a giant Thomas the Tank Engine style train, a tank train that has spider legs, big old spider legs. It doesn't use the track. It just it walks around, and it's got a grotesque face on the front, just like Thomas the Tank Engine. But instead of it being a cheerful smiley face, it's big old teeth and bloody and scary. So the concept of the game is you show up on the island, because this is an island, um, and this they'll give you the story. You're there because you're there to hunt Charles, and destroy him. And then throughout the game, you progress with the plot of the story, and you find out some nefarious things by a mine owner and stuff like that. So the basic premises of the game is that you also have a train, just a simple train engine, that you end up getting decked out with a machine gun on it, um, and then you move along the tracks and you stop at different locations. um, you do some side quests, and there's also some main story quests and some weapon upgrade quests. So along the tracks, you'll eventually get like a rocket launcher and a flamethrower and a big like anti-air gun to use against Charles. Um, Overall, this game took me about 3 hours. The minimum specs for the game, I actually went off the screen because I was looking for another deal. Uh, but it right now it's 19.99 on Steam. I don't think it's on any other platform other than Steam. And I'm there now. Minimum specs for Choo-Choo-Charles is Windows 7, a 2.5 gigahertz quad core Intel or AMD processor, 4 gigs of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce 470 GTX or an AMD Radeon 6870 HD, and it requires 3 gigs of total hard drive space. So it is not, it is definitely not Tomb Raider by any means. Like this is uh, not a big game. You can, as you progress through the game, you can get like cosmetics for your engine and different paints. But I did all like the side missions. I didn't go and collect all the paints and stuff like that. Um, but I did all the side missions and the main story in 3 hours. Um, which again, there's only one person that made this game. Two star games for the people behind My Beautiful Paper Smile. And there are some nuances with the game. The characters that you talk to, they don't actually like they'll talk. Everyone has a voice line, which is great, right? But their mouths don't move, which is not a big deal for me, but for some people, it's kind of weird, right? Like you see, like it zooms up on their face, but their mouth doesn't move.
Like a little uncanny in a way.
Yeah, yeah. And it definitely feels, you know, like it. There's some things in the game that are just not finished. But for me, it's more of like an indie aesthetic. Like it's like it's meant to be like a low poly game, or not a low poly, a low budget game. A lot of the things that I really liked about it is like the doors and stuff like that. Like different textures of the game looked like they were hand drawn because they were hand drawn, right? A lot of the detail on the train, it looks like the shading and stuff was like someone took a pencil and drew the train, or like a door, like it's a solid door, but like when you get up to the door, you can see like the shading and stuff is just like a penciled in, which I thought looked really cool. Like I thought it looked fantastic. It gave it a nice little like, Thomas the Tank Engine vibe, but in a horror genre. Um, but you do get off the train, like you're not just stuck on the train moving out and about. Like you are technically a person, and then you go different areas off of the train, and then you run back to the train. Um, the biggest thing for me is like I didn't see Charles very often when I played. Like you try to avoid him. Um, but the times that I did run into him, um, I wasn't at my train, and he runs much faster than your person actually runs. So anytime that I ran into him and he spotted me, I would immediately die because Charles is just too fucking fast and like hits like a truck. Because he just runs you over, hits you, beats you, and then ends up eating you. So, but the biggest thing is like you don't start over the game. Like you just lose some of the scraps and then you respawn at your train. So like any story that you were doing, like if you were in the middle of grabbing something for a storyline, sometimes you would have that item still, sometimes you wouldn't. So you'd have to like go back and redo that story. But at the end of it, like you don't lose much. So that can be both like a good thing and a bad thing in my opinion. A bad because like there's like no real weight of like dying and losing. But at the other end, I think it works well for the people who are just there for the story, you know. Um, and then another big gripe I had about this game is that um, there's a lot of missions where you have to go into a mine shaft, and there's going to be like enemy people that are on guard and they have shotguns, right? But you don't get a gun in the game. Like your gun is on the train. Um, so you essentially have to avoid these people, and it's nearly impossible to sneak past these people. It's not impossible, but it's nearly impossible. So it's a pain in the ass. A lot of people would like aggro them, run back to the train, and then shoot them with the gun on the train. But I feel like it would have been a lot better if you actually had a weapon to fight those people. Like even if you put more people in the game, like more people to fight, um, but gave you a weapon to even it out, I would have liked that a lot more than trying to sneak around someone who would like will shoot me twice and I die. Um, so as I said, the game is 19.99. Um, for what it was worth, and for the amount of time that it took me to actually complete the game with all the missions, I don't necessarily feel like it's worth the $20. Um, Especially since it was only 3 hours. So it's a, a very short amount of time, a short amount of gameplay for that amount. So I would definitely wait for it to go on sale to pick this up if you're on the fence about it. I did have fun when I played it. Like I don't like horror games at all. I've never been a big fan of horror games. But this one was like on that edge of like fun versus scary. Because like Charles would pop up out randomly out of nowhere, right? But it's something that you expected because like that's the whole premise of the game, right? Um, so like the fear part wasn't a huge factor for me. So like I I had fun. I had fun with this game. Don't get me wrong. I have a hard time justifying it being at $20. If it was like maybe 12.99, I feel like it would have been worth it in my opinion a lot more. So if you can get it on sale for like that $12 mark, I think this would be a really good pickup. Any questions, Mendacii?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, like, what actually drove you to pick up Choo-Choo-Charles, being that, like, everything I'd seen from it was the terrifying spider train. And I
Hmm.
know you're kind of like, how do I want to put this?
A pussy.
Infamous.
A pansy? Uh,
A little bitch boy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I saw it on TikTok, and I watched it like multiple times on TikTok. It come and go. And honestly, I picked it up for the content because I streamed it, and I'm like, okay, I want a game that's like scary, but not like insanely scary to where I poop myself on stream to make
Hmm.
some pretty decent content. Like I think I like was startled twice in that game, and that was about it. Other than that, I just like I really wanted to kill Charles.
Yeah.
Um,
That
uh,
actually, yeah, you
I
first.
was gonna say, like it just looked fun. It looked like who wouldn't want to like shoot a 50 cal off the back of a moving train at another train that's also got spider legs.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is that, like, your reason why you picked it up is actually kind of cement, at least like in this sort of anecdotal sense, why I think that this game is so small. I think this one developer was like, I've got a cool idea, got a neat concept, I can make it a playable concept, and you think about like the general kind of like average time that someone streams, unless like you're an insane person like our good friend Indy Falco, who will stream for 14, 15, 16 hours straight. 3 hours is a pretty decent stream time. I feel like this game was made to be streamed. I think that it was a
Yeah.
really smart idea to like put it on TikTok. This burgeoning social media that a lot of streamers and content creators are using to kind of get their faces out there and get people actually seeing small snippets of what they have to offer. I think that that's ultimately what this game is, and I think that's who this game is actually for. With your note on like the lack of guns, it's like if he or she or they went through the effort of making gun physics for not just your train but your enemies, why not throw like, even if it's like kind of like a double barrel, right? And you get very, very like sparse ammo for it. Why not
Mhm.
let you grab that off the wall of your train where you have like your other guns and stuff that you can
Mhm.
mount on? Like, why not just put that up there? And like, that's like, you can only use it when, you're off the train. So you can't shoot Choo-Choo-Charles with it. I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like it's kind of a missed opportunity. Like, we don't need strafing. We don't need quick dude jumps. We don't
Yeah.
need like
Well, that's the
doom.
thing too, is it also had like the lean. Like the game has a lean mechanic to it, like a Q and E, right? Like even if it was like a knife, if I could have had a knife, anything to like attack back when I'm on foot would have would have been what I would have liked to see. Like even just something simple where I could just like stealthily like stab someone. That's what I want, you know? Because I don't want to like, oh, ran into someone. They're shooting me with a 12 gauge. I need to like book it back to my train. That sucked. I didn't like that. It sucked.
Yeah, I think the very last thing that I have for you then is, do you think that this is actually in a finished state that the developer doesn't plan on doing anything else to? Obviously, it's got a foundation. Like, you could add on to it, but like personally, with how many games you've played and what you think this game is, do you think it is their intention to continue?
I think the way that they set up the story, there's gonna be a sequel. If not at least a DLC. I could see it as a full blown sequel, just the way that the story ends. No spoilers, of course. But with the way the story ends, definitely seeing something with that. Maybe like an update patch here. Like I think the attempt was to have the mouths smooth throughout the game when you talk to people. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not the dev, but if like there was anything that could be fixed where they like do like a hot fix, like I could see that being a thing. But I don't know. Definitely a sequel. I don't know if they'll add any more content to the game. If they do, great. Another thing with the game is like I don't see a whole lot of replayability with it. Um, just because you're on like the same set of tracks and all that. So that's another reason why I didn't see it worth the $20 because like you play it once and you have the story. You know.
Would you say, Mr. Green, that the entire time you played Choo-Choo-Charles that you felt railroaded?
Mm, technically, yes.
Why? Boo! Boo!
He's not
Boo!
wrong.
I know he's not wrong, but he still shouldn't have made the joke.
There are
Take low
sections of the
hanging fruit.
track that you turn left and right? So you can go and turn the switch to go left or right, and like you could just do a circle all day. You don't have to play the game. You could just play Train Simulator all day and shoot the
Quite
gun.
quite possibly more open than Callisto Protocol? Question mark.
Question
Best game
mark?
2022.
I didn't play that game? Question
Should have been there. You should have been there.
mark? Have yeah.
Anything else for Choo-Choo-Charles? I think all of
No,
my
sir.
questions, all my burning concerns, questions, and thoughts have been answered. So
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, before we continue, I want to dedicate this next section of the podcast to my Orthodox Reformed rabbi, Bill Clinton. Let's talk about the Game Awards.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay topical. I know it's a meme that's been done to death, and it's just a what a bizarre occurrence to happen for the Game Awards.
Right. It also is just kind of concerning because it's like, can anyone just go up there? Can they do whatever the fuck they want? Like,
Right?
what the fuck?
Right? That's one of those that is actually incredibly concerning. Where it's like, hey, security, what are you just gonna like let just because he looks like he belongs means he like goes up there? I don't know. It's fucking weird.
You can
Anyways,
get away. You can get away with anything if you have a suit and tie on.
Or
You got
a
a
fucking
dress
like,
jacket.
yeah, or like a doctor's coat and a clipboard. Dude,
Yep.
people will just like listen to everything you have to say.
What stops you if you're in your robe?
I used to joke at my old university job because they would just give us like these generic like janitor like shirts, like all like the student all the student like custodians at every building had like the same shirt. I used to joke that I'd be able to get into events for free, like big events, like not like the ones that like students would actually get into for free, but like the concerts, just by wearing that shirt and be like, yeah, I'm working tonight.
Oh, easily. Or like
Easy.
two people carrying a ladder. You can go wherever you want to.
Right?
Or security shirts. Like those are always a big one. Like I see
Yeah.
people wearing security shirts all the time out in public because they like can go places.
Yeah. So we're not going to talk about like who won what, but I mean, there were some announcements that were made and a lot of announcements. We're not going to get to all of them. I have like a list here. I might not even get through all the list. But let's like talk about some of these announcements here. So I think one of the biggest ones was From Software revealed Armored Core 4, Fires of the Rubicon or Fires of Rubicon.
6.
Oh, I know Roman numerals. Anyways, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. I'm not familiar with Armored Core series. Are you?
Absolutely. I fucking love Armored Core, Danny. It's mechs. Mechs is half of my personality. I actually meant to grab my copy of Armored Core 5 that I recently found. I think it was for the no, it was for the PlayStation. But I found it at like a video games, etc. Like a year or two ago, and I was like, oh my god, yes. Very, very much so. In short, this is a game that you can edit your mech from the actuators up, and you rebalance and redistribute that weight so that it is like perfectly balanced and everything. You can spend 40 minutes building your mech before you go out to do like an hour and a half long mission and then get completely fucking scrapped and go back and do it again. And you won't even be mad because you get to build a mech and it's super dope.
Green, any thoughts on that announcement?
No, never heard of it. First time I'm hearing about this.
Hades 2 got announced and had a reveal trailer, which I know
Muscle Mamas. Muscle Mamas.
Yeah, has a lot of people excited. So
still hungry.
Death Stranding 2 got revealed. So you can be an Amazon package delivery person in a post-apocalyptic world in Kojima's mind that is completely convoluted.
It's all about the story, baby. It's all about that story.
We're all connected. Everything's a pun. Whatever. Strand game.
Snake.
Ken Levine, BioShock fame, revealed his new game. It's called Judas.
Yeah. Ken Levine, auteur, and also incredible piece of shit. I really hate that Judas actually has me excited. It looks very interesting. And like the BioShock game that we would have gotten if BioShock continued to make games and didn't make BioShock Infinite.
Yeah. Well, I'm only hoping it has a better reading of philosophy than BioShock does.
Well, Ken Levine's still here, so probably fucking not.
Yeah, I would really appreciate a game that has a deeper understanding of the philosophies it's critiquing that, more than high school freshmen. Or not high school freshman, college freshman. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say college freshman. Um, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I have a feeling both of you are excited for this.
I fucking
God,
nutted.
dude. Yeah, same. I literally jumped off my couch and was like, "Oh my fucking god!" It was so completely out of. For one thing, just right off the bat, the entire VGAs had me like so surprised. Me and Indy were blowing up our VR Kana chat. I
Yeah.
apologize, by the way. I am so sorry, but like we were on one, and yeah, this was so exciting, so exciting.
Just so you're aware, I was on vacation when this happened. I had to sit down and scroll through 512 missed messages that night.
Yeah,
so-
we were happy. We were stoked.
I was doing a one-on-one with Zombie for VR Kana, and I came back and I had like 200 missed messages. It was rough.
Whoop. Whoop.
Next, Mendacii, I'm kind of curious how you feel about this, just because you played Bayonetta 3, but we are getting a Bayonetta spin-off game called Bayonetta Origins: Cereza and the Lost Demon.
Okay, so this is funny because I'm somewhat on the fence, but I'm also leaning towards I hope that when I fall off, I snap my neck. This was a game that my fiance was like, "Oh my god, that's adorable! I want to play that," and I had to be like, you know what? It is adorable. You know, you're right. There are so many other games that you could play that are as adorable or more adorable and probably play a little bit better, are easier to like really understand what the fuck is going on. And also I'd like to point out that this game is probably going to be like an 8-hour long, maybe like goofy puzzle game, very cutesy. It is going to release for $59.99. This is a full price game. It is not a full priced game.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a spinoff, and it's just like some schlock that they're putting out.
Yeah. This next one, I feel like this is more Green's alley. I think
I just read. You can go ahead and say it, but I just read the input in the thing. Go ahead and say it.
It's a roguelite adaptation of Marvel's Hellboy, and it's coming
Wrong.
to wrong.
Wrong.
Is Hellboy not a Marvel property? Am I
No. He's Dark Horse.
Dark Horse? Okay.
Yep.
My bad.
He has crossed over with DC a couple times, and he has I believe he was actually in Injustice 2, if I remember right.
No, he was in, I think he was in one of the Mortal Kombats, wasn't he? Or maybe he was in Justice 2.
I think it was
think it
Injustice
might have
2.
been.
Because Spawn came from Image, and he was in MK11 after, you know, people asking for Spawn for, you know, the past 30 years.
Wow. So I'm just revealing my ineptitude of comics. Yes.
Horrible.
I thought Hellboy was a
Never
Marvel property.
ever step outside of your grandmother's basement again, okay?
One quick note on this that I think is actually really sick in the line of comics is that the art style is of those original comics by Mike Mignola's art style. So like you see him all scrawny and weird looking and stuff. That's how he looks in those comics. That is the exact art style from, you know, all of his stories. So it's just it's going to be good. Hopefully, it looks nice at least.
Yeah. Next is Crime Boss Roque City.
Sure.
I think that's that's going to feature a very features a very off ensemble cast. Let me just read you guys some names here. Michael Madsen, Danny Glover, Danny Trejo, Chuck Norris, Kim Basinger, Michael Rooker, and the living legend that is Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice, in fact, does still have his 5-0, just so you're aware.
Yeah, Mr. Van Winkle himself, dude. What a fucking schlock ass content, 2005 looking ass Vice City ripping off fucking trash heap.
I'm just
God,
gonna say,
man.
I think
You better watch yourself. Chuck Norris is gonna come roundhouse kick you in the fucking face.
No, I think I'll probably die when 2005 reemerges from the 20-foot grave that it's been living in with that meme ass mess.
I'm just gonna say that I think this game looks cool as ice.
Wow.
Sheesh.
Wow.
Take a moment, cringe. Let the cringe enter your body. Inhale.
Them dabs off.
Yeah.
Exhale the cringe. Yeah, feel it.
All the money they spent on mocap and getting these actors to sign off on their likenesses. I want to know what was left over on actually making a game.
Right.
You know, I'm proud of Vanilla Ice. He's making some money.
Yeah, good carpentry.
So this next one, I'm only mentioning for one reason, and I'm just gonna pause for a second, guys. Go get your favorite liquor. Go get a shot glass. Okay, it's Transformers Reactive, and I'm only mentioning this one because it's being developed by Splash Damage, who also developed. Wait for it. Dirty Bomb. Take a shot. Yeah, I don't know. It looked okay.
Dirty Bomb is kind of becoming next to nothing's like Bobby Bonilla. Like it's kind of like it just keeps popping up in these episodes, man.
It's because I deliberately look for it, and anytime that I get to say that Dirty Bomb was spoiled and that Splash Damage didn't know what they fucking had and they ruined it, is a chance I will savor. And if Shu has a problem with it, Shu can come talk to me. He hasn't talked to me in a while.
That game.
There you
go. Next on the list that I was going to mention was Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, which looked pretty cool. Like it had like this medieval ghost story type aesthetic to it that I'm like, okay, I can kind of get behind this.
Yeah, I felt like the camera angle and like the kind of like look of how that game's gonna operate, it felt kind of like Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I hope it's multiplayer. That's all I've got. It looks fun. I hope it's multiplayer.
And then Remnant 2 from Gunfire Games. I feel like this is one that you added, right, Mendacii?
I was gonna say I added that one.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't recognize this one at all.
Yeah, so Remnant was kind of a Dark Horse game that released some time ago. It went for free back in 2020, and during that quarantine period, myself and Brent of Podcast for Two People and another one of our friends actually went through and 100%ed that game along with all of the DLC. I had originally seen it and was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting, but it wasn't necessarily something I was into based on the art style and just kind of how it sold itself. But believe me when I tell you that you haven't played a roguelike game like this, and the ability to play with your friends in a very, very interesting, procedurally generated campaign, your world was different than your friend's world. And therefore, the quests and weapons and equipment that you could get were different from your buddies. So it actually was like the replayability was through the goddamn roof. The more friends you had, the more different story elements that you would actually see, like literally different end bosses for each area that you would go to. Remnant 2 looks like it's building on that. It also looks like the engine that they're using has been completely overhauled. It looks like a beautiful 4K game, much darker, a little bit more realistic. The previous one was almost a bit cartoonish or kind of like comically dark. But anyway, if you don't know anything about Remnant, I have a feeling you'll be able to hop into Remnant 2 with zero information. All you need to know is there was a dimensional rip, there's monsters, you're going to go to different places, you're going to need a lot of guns to kill them, and you're probably going to be able to bring your friends. And there's builds, there's gear advancement, all of that. go check it out. And if you are interested in Remnant 2, it has a to be announced 2023 release date. And why don't you just go play the first one? You know what? It's probably like 10-20 bucks. So it's a holiday season. Buy a copy for your friend. Have literally dozens of hours of fun.
Okay. I hit the end of my list there. Green, was there anything that you saw that we didn't mention that you're interested in, thought was cool or interesting?
No, I got my fix of my Orthodox Redux Bill Clinton.
Bless.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the show itself? I honestly kind of skimmed through it. I didn't really get much value out of actually watching the show. I watched a decent portion of it after me and Zombie did our one-on-one, but like I didn't really have like I went back and tried to watch a little bit of it, and not a lot of it really appealed to me. I mean, God of War Ragnarok just kind of sweeping everything seemed a little much. It feels like they,
Except for Game of the Year.
except for Game of the Year. Yeah.
What a pull through, you know. I do have to pull one out for Christopher Judge, though. I really do believe he deserved that award.
Yeah.
Oh
he's
yeah,
been,
for
he's
sure.
been snuffed from like the actual big screen for so long. Ever since like Stargate, like the end of Stargate. So like for him to actually get like an award for something so monumentalously huge as God of War, it brought a little tear to my eye.
Yeah,
For him
and he's
getting
been
that, so,
Kratos since 3.
yeah. So
Like, yeah, man, that's a lot of Christopher Judge as Kratos. I think that is a long time coming, like you said, man. I thought that it was kind of funny that like they continued to shit on him throughout the show for the amount of time that he took in giving his thanks when they took like a solid 5 minutes to actually start playing him off in the first place. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of mean, but yeah, wow. That was really good actually. Not nearly as cringy as I thought it was going to be. I think that the biggest amount of cringe was definitely around about the time that Key showed up to do some really really terrible jokes that just landed flat as fuck. And then we saw some Mario movie stuff and Chris Pratt barely spoke because I think they know that he's going to go up there on the big screen and be like, "It's me, a Mario," and they want to just push that back as far and as quick as possible.
Yeah.
That
Hoofda.
was bad, but yeah, overall, I did not see any of these announcements coming. Something like Remnant 2 is insane. Gunfire Games is such a small studio that rose from the ashes of THQ Nordic. I really honestly didn't think that I was ever going to see a Remnant game again. And that made me quite sad 2 years ago. This is a really good time for announcements. And I think overall it was the best showcase of games that we had this year. We've covered just about every one of them here on Next to Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Jedi Survivor.
Oh my God, dude.
I love the first one. I love that Respawn did it. I genuinely cannot wait until March. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah.
It
Like,
looks
that is going to be the
so
game.
good. Two-handed cross guard saber.
Yeah, I loved the original because of like it was like more of like a Dark Souls kind of like Soulsborne style combat where like you're not just like slashing away, like you're trying to do the parries and deflecting, and the way that they did like the force moves, just like it felt good. It reminded me a lot of uh like the feeling I had when I played that game was very nostalgic to like Jedi Knight, like the Jedi Knight games, like
Yes.
the Jedi Academy, like just that like pure bliss of, hey, I'm playing Star Wars and I'm playing as a fucking Jedi with a fucking lightsaber. That's so fucking cool. If totally different games. Don't get me wrong, totally different games, but like that same feeling was there for the original, and I really hope they follow that through into the second one. I'm so excited to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said this is going to be the best Star Wars game ever. Do you think that there's credence in that? Do you think that could happen?
I think it could, especially there's a lot that they could do right now, because it's in that area of like there's so many like uh no longer canon stuff that could be thrown in there, and then you have like they could just randomly have Ahsoka pop in, right? Because Ahsoka's out there.
Poop.
Like,
I'd
you
poop
know,
and cry.
and like even like because right now canonically there's no um like actual aside from like the comics, right? Of like
Mhm.
how from episode 5 to episode 6 Luke became like so advanced as a Jedi Knight,
Mm.
right? So like that could even be a point where like pre Jedi Knight Luke could meet Cal Kestis, right? And then like they could like work off each other and stuff like that. I think that would be a really good opportunity for that, because there's 2 years between those two movies
Yeah.
that they could just that it's just out there.
A
So
lot of potential.
a lot of potential.
Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of wrap up our discussion of the Game Awards here, but I do want to ask our audience, like what were some of the trailers, some of the reveals that got you guys hyped? Like what do you think is going to carry you through next year? And what maybe do you think is going to be overhyped too? I would like to know the answer to both of those questions. And you can leave that the answer to those questions in the comments section down below on YouTube, and you can also tweet at us. Screen hit him with that Twitter again.
At next to nothing PC.
Any other thoughts on Game Awards, or do we want to move on to some deals?
I could not give a shit less about Diablo 4.
Right?
That is
Yeah.
all.
I didn't
That
even
is all.
I didn't even think about adding it into our list.
I poop on anything that Blizzard touches.
Bye.
All right, let's talk about some weekly deals to snag. I've got one. It's a little bit of an odd one, but I do think for some people in our audience who may be interested in getting into game design, this could be a good entry point. It is the RPG Maker XP. It's available in Humble, which we are affiliates, so we do get a kickback on that. It is currently on sale for 90% off, so you only spend $2.49. So if you want to maybe like play around with doing some game design on your own, this is a good entry point at pretty cheap. It's really known for like the JRPG development. So if you're interested in game development or have a story you want to tell, check it out. It could be a good entry point for you. Mendacii, what do you got?
I've got one of my favorite RPGs of all time, Divinity 2 Original Sin, which you can play with up to a total of four people. All of you guys get to roam around a really cool world and get into some really insane combats, top down, very D&D-esque. You make your character and build your class from scratch. There's not like thief, rogue, warrior, paladin. It's a mix of a whole bunch of insanity. It is currently 65% off. It is only $15.74, and that goes until December 22nd. If you buy yourself a copy, you got to buy a copy for a friend. Phenomenal game.
Excellent. Green, how about you?
I have Red Dead Redemption 2. It is 67% off at $19.79, all the way up till December 19th. So pick it up because it's a really good story. And you also, I believe that comes with Red Dead Redemption Online. Red Dead Online, which is a pretty fun. I've been on it. I've played it. I think I just own Red Dead Online for the PC. It's a whole vibe. So, think Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah. Oh, with horses.
But Western, yeah. So you'd be like, I don't know Dutch. No.
El Muerto. Fuego.
Speaking of TikTok, there was a guy, because there was like a huge thing where there was a lot of people who were like dressed up as KKK members online in Red Dead when it was like a thing.
Yep.
Like when it was big.
Mhm.
So there's this guy that would just like go around and purposefully kill these people dressed as KKK members repeatedly over and over again. That would be their day all day. That is hilarious. Fuck them. Fuck racism.
Oh,
Hey.
way down south in the land of traitors.
Yeah. Rattlesnakes and alligators.
Alligators.
Awesome.
Look
So
away. Look
so
away.
uh we're cotton king. We're Scott. What is it? We're cotton's king.
Where cotton is king, men are chattel.
Yeah, men are chattel. There we go.
Look away.
Anyway,
Look away.
anyways, I think that's the show for this week. So if you guys want those deals, go check them out. They'll be in the episode description, both on podcast platforms and on YouTube. Otherwise, I think that's really the whole show. Thanks for watching and listening. Your time and attention is always appreciated. If you've made it this far, be sure to drop us a like and subscribe. That is always appreciated. Make sure you ring that bell too. That tells the algorithm that you really like this and you want to hear and see more from us. And don't forget to drop your thoughts and opinions on anything that we discussed today in the comment section. We really do want to hear from you guys. We try to respond to all of our comments and love interacting with you guys. So don't forget to do that. Let's talk about like what we got coming up on our channels. Mr. Greenlee, what do you got going on?
Well, there is a rumor, just the slightest hint of a possible Tarkov wipe tomorrow. You didn't hear it from me, but if that is the case, I might be playing Tarkov tomorrow. It just depends on how I feel, because like I woke up this morning and my nose wasn't as stuffy. Like it's still a little, I can breathe through it though. So like if tomorrow I wake up and it's like I can't do that anymore, then I probably won't. But I'm hoping to get to feeling better soon. So there's a new Hunt Showdown event that's live as of today that I played a little bit earlier today. I didn't stream, but I want to get into that. I want to get live again. That's the biggest thing. I took vacation. I was going through some stuff before vacation, and now I have the Rona, and I have not been live, and I've been like putting it off. Right? I want to get back to it. I'm trying, and then I might have a schedule change coming up. We'll see. Twitch.tv/Mr. Greenlee. Everything Mr. Greenlee. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. Check me out because it's.
Yeah. Mendacii.
Hey, so other than going through this semester's finals, which are tomorrow, and I'm not at all sweating about it, I am combing my emails every hour on the hour for my Street Fighter 6 beta, for the closed beta this weekend. The game, of course, doesn't come out till June, so if I don't get it, I will piss and cry. If I don't get it, though, I will attempt to not do those other two things and probably play some Dark Tide. Maybe check out Chained Echoes. Our good friend of the show, Indy Falco, had gifted that to me last week, so I might look into that. I might jump into New World or whatever. I'm not sure. Check me out on Twitter at @onlymendacii. That's where I'm going to tell you what I'm doing because I know that you obviously care.
Yeah. Coming up for me, this week we're doing some D&D stuff, so I got some of that coming up on the channel. The rest of the week I have to sort of cram and get things ready for the live show for VRCona, which is Friday at 7 p.m. and you guys can catch that on YouTube. Same channel if you're subscribed to Next to Nothing on YouTube. And then maybe this weekend I'll do a little Hunt Showdown. Maybe we'll do a little stream. But that's pretty much what I've got going on. Until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting those good fights, and we'll see you again next